Hi everyone, my name is Brian Paul. I'm the Technology Integration Teacher on Special Assignment. And one aspect of my position is to develop student technology standards. And at your grade level PLC today, a draft of narrative of those standards is going to be shared with you. Some of you may be wondering why the need for student technology standards exists, and I thought I'd take a moment to just address that really quickly here. First of all, I just think it's important for us to have a direction. We should all know and have a shared understanding of what it is we're expected to teach students with regard to technology. We should know what is the direction that the district is taking so that we can know as teachers what we're expected to know and be able to do as well. So I see this as something that's really important for our students, but it's also important so that we can identify the support and training that our teachers need in order to teach these important technology skills. I also want to try to avoid a situation like we experienced last year when I came to the PLCs and had to explain all of the technology skills students needed in order to successfully navigate the Smarter Balanced Assessment. I don't want things like this sneaking up on us anymore, and so I want us to have, again, just a shared understanding and a direction for technology instruction and skills in our district. Another answer to that question about why student technology standards is that national and state educational technology standards have existed for well over a decade. And it's 2015, right? And so I don't mean to be flippant or come across as offensive in any way, but I think that it's well past time for us to make sure that technology is included in instruction here in our school district, and that we are teaching the kinds of things that are identified in the national and state ed tech standards. These skills are also addressed in the Common Core state standards. They explicitly state that students should be using technology to do research, using technology to communicate and collaborate, using technology to demonstrate knowledge. So it's time for us to make sure that our students have those skills to be successful in college, career, and citizenship. And then finally, an interesting tidbit I thought I'd share with you is that the Bellingham Schools recently conducted a survey, both over the phone and over the web, of Bellingham residents, and 96% of those people interviewed or who participated in the web-based survey said that technology in education was important. And I think this also is a call to be aware that this is something that our community feels is important, and so developing student technology standards allows us to move forward with the teaching of technology in a clear and consistent manner. And I'm not going to read all of the next slides for you, but I did want to read this one, that one is not fully literate unless they know how to successfully access, navigate, and make meaning of information on the internet. This is from the International Reading Association, and the International Reading Association is one of many national and international governing bodies for educators, really with a call to awareness of the importance of digital literacy and teaching technology skills to our students. So again, I'm not going to read all of these to you. We'll share the PowerPoint with you so that you can read them on your own, but these are some of the Common Core state standards that explicitly state the need for using technology in instruction and in students' demonstration of their knowledge. And so finally, I wanted to talk about the standards specifically, or the narratives that you're about to receive. So first of all, these one-page narratives are still very much in draft form. It's really important that you received them in this format so that you could participate in the process for creating the narratives in such a way that they are meaningful to you. Your feedback is really welcomed and encouraged. I really think that it's a very, very important part of this whole process. You may also be wondering, how were these standards created? What was the basis for them? And so what I want you to know is that I looked at several school districts across the country in the same way that I did last year with the Smarter Balanced Assessment and the computer skills needed for students to successfully navigate the assessment. I looked at what standards other school districts had created, and they look something like this. So this is an Excel spreadsheet, and this is what many of the districts use. They use Excel spreadsheets or very long checklists that are divided into these categories, typically 4 categories. So one is basic operations, one is word processing, another category is digital citizenship, and another category is research. And then they're broken down, those 4 categories are broken down into very, very specific skills like you see here. You'll see in the second column here that they're often aligned to the Smarter Balance test and to Common Core State Standards. And then the specific skills in the third column are identified. So this first one, turn on a computer and log in, it's considered to be something that should be introduced in kindergarten. It should be reinforced in first grade, and then mastery developed essentially for second grade and beyond. And so the standards that exist in this format in these big long Excel spreadsheets, I felt like initially anyway that it would be important for teachers not to have a great big long checklist to add to their workload, but instead to have a narrative that describes the kind of skills and experiences that students should have with technology. And so the narratives that you're about to receive are written in such a way that I hope makes this information clear, but that does it in a little bit more accessible format than an Excel spreadsheet. So you're about to get the narratives, and what I'd like you to do first, I recommend just reading the one-page description and taking a moment to read it silently to yourself, to jot down any notes that you have, to underline or circle aspects of the narrative that you feel like either really stand out and that you support, or things that you think aren't clear or maybe aren't reasonable. Please take note of all of those things. All of that feedback is really important. Not just about the standards themselves, but you also may read the narrative and feel like, how am I supposed to do this? I don't have access to computers for 3 months of the year. That's the kind of feedback that I think is really important, in addition to the specific feedback that you have about the standards. And then after about 5 minutes of reading them silently to yourself, please break up into groups of 4 to 5 and discuss the notes that you have written down, discuss your major questions or concerns with the standards, and again, not just with the standards themselves, but also your questions or concerns about how you're supposed to go about teaching these standards to your students. The last thing I'd like to say before the narratives get passed out to you is that I think that we need to do a better job defining our direction, as I said at the beginning, because it's really important for us to make sure that as a district that we are training and supporting teachers to provide top quality instruction. So in the same way that I would hope that we wouldn't just hand teachers a reading curriculum and say, okay, go teach it. We would provide meaningful support and training in best practices, evidence-based ways of instruction. I think that that's necessary for technology as well. And so I want you again to know that this is not something that I want to have done to you. I want you to be a really important part of the whole process and to find ways to support you and to train teachers to make sure that our technology integration is effective and is done in a quality way.